I think Toto Wolff has a plan here. And I've been particularly harsh to the chap over the past few months, more out of love and frustration than anything else. But we know he's a god tier team principal. Okay, so he's done some fairly frustrating things as far as his sound bites, even the way he's presented to the world's press and media, criticising Lewis, or at the very least not complimenting him on what was an epic sprint race drive at China. And there's been others talking about engineers being more important than drivers, as at April 2024, of course, is going to irk Lewis Hamilton fans around the world, one of which I am. But with all that said, that notwithstanding, I think we need to remind ourselves of who Toto Wolff is, especially on the back of the speculation, the rumour that Max Verstappen, his manager, Joss, is going to have talks over the next 14 days or less with the Mercedes owners, being Toto Wolff 33%, Sir Jim Ratcliffe 33%, Daimler AG 33%. Let's remind ourselves of who Toto Wolff is, because for those of you who have watched Drive to Survive, I will point and reference a clip in there. It's a whole episode dedicated to the Lewis Hamilton moving to Ferrari fiasco. But what stood out to me was a section that chronicled Toto Wolff's home life. You get the picture of him with his son and his wife Susie, right? And he's doing this psychiatric thing. He's almost trying to reconcile himself with failure, because he doesn't fail, does Toto? He's a billionaire. Failure isn't something that he's had to reconcile himself with since 2013, eh? He came in to F1 via Williams, and shortly thereafter was touted, picked out, headhunted to become the leader of Mercedes. They offered him 30%, 30 million's worth of equity for the privilege. And since then, 2014 through to 2021, he hasn't lost. 2021 was the first bloody year they've won each and every single. So losing in that sense for Toto Wolff is a strange feeling, right? Something he's no longer acclimatized to. And so you see him trying to wrestle and deal with that in real time. And for context, important to table set here, because this one's going to get techie. Toto Wolff, one of my frustrations with Toto Wolff has been that he's prioritised always the hows rather than the whats. You've heard him on a gazillion occasions now, him and Lewis, saying that they don't want to win with an asterisk next to anything, that they would rather lose than win in contentious fashion. Please see Abu Dhabi 2021. It's almost like that had always been their modus operandi, their ethos as a racing team, but now and since more than ever. That's the code, the rule of engagement that they hold dearest to their heart, and that's all well and good on paper. Face value is perfect. When in theory everything can look fine and dandy, but in practice, if there is downside to that sufficient to make you lose, then you're going to ask yourself the question, right? Is that worth it really? In F1, a story told in tense when millions, no billions, as far as team and marketing value are decided on fine margins. Is that what we're going to pride ourselves on? Is that the extent to which you hold yourselves to that value as a racing team, Toto and Lewis? Because I'd call that into question. Now, the extent of the sliding rule, do you go all the way over to rogue settings? Do you do what Michael Schumacher did in 1997 to Jacques Villeneuve? Do you do what Senna did in 1990 to Alain Prost at Suzuka? Michael Schumacher 1994 to Damon Hill? Is that the extent to which we're willing to win? Will you give everything? Will you do anything to ensure you get the dub? Now, that might be a bit too far. Everybody has a number, right? Personally, that might be too far over to the right side of things, if I'm honest. But I think Toto Wolff, I've been arguing for the longest time that Toto wants to do one of these. that he's too leftist in his theory and principle, at least at the outset. That's at least what he's been telling us. But the point of this video today is that I think something's changed in him, and I think we are reconciling in real time our expectations of Toto Wolff as a team principal and who he's becoming. I think, here's what I mean to say by this, I think Toto Wolff is turning heel. Scorched earth, Toto Wolff, and we're all used to seeing altruistic, prim and proper Toto Wolff, because that's what he's been telling us, right? Lest we forget in Monza when Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen came together, when Max parked his car turn 1, turn 2 on Toto Wolff's, on Lewis Hamilton's halo even. Toto Wolff went in front of the stew and said, you know what, lads, whatever you decide. On the other side of the fence, Christian Horner was doing one of these, getting his elbows out on the back of Silverstone, right? You could have killed Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton. Why are you celebrating? My driver's in hospital. Insightful language, if ever I've heard it. And Lewis Hamilton received a barrage for that on social media. Still today, if you talk to die-hard Max Verstappen fans, they will say that Lewis Hamilton tried to kill Max Verstappen at Silverstone. And I would argue that Christian Horner has a large part to play in that. But this is the game that we play, ladies and gents. You should shrink at nothing. Christian Horner said it on Drive to Survive, did it? If you really want something, whether that's an F1 championship, a constructors or drivers, to win in anything, if you really, really want it, Christian Horner said, then you will stop at nothing to get that. And that summarises where Christian Horner is and where he's differed as a team principal to Toto Wolff over the past 3 years. Toto Wolff has told you as much. He did as much in Monza. We'll go by whatever the stewards decide, notwithstanding the fact that Max Verstappen parked his car and could have killed my driver. We'll go with it, said Toto. And that's to the frustration of millions of F1 and Lewis Hamilton fans all around the world. Mercedes fans too. But it's changing now. Absolutely, it's changing in real time, and that's why fans are struggling to reconcile themselves with who they think Toto Wolff is and who he's becoming, who he has been over the past 3 to 6 years. Mr. Nice Guy, play by the rules, sports etiquette. We're all about the hows more than the whats. I don't want to win any championships with an asterisk next to my name or the team's name. Now, however, though, now, because of what he's saying in the media and press and the stakes and the fact that Toto Wolff is nothing if not a winner, he does not like to lose. Now we're seeing Toto Wolff get into his heel bag. Scorched earth, Toto Wolff is here who we're seeing. He will not stop at anything, given the history of this circumstance. The fact that internally he hates Christian Horner, and Christian Horner is still winning, notwithstanding the allegations of recent months. Toto Wolff now, for the next 12 months, will stop at nothing. And what does that look like, peddlers? In his mind, and again, I will quote Toto Wolff so that we understand that we're talking about, so that we're singing from the same hymn sheet here. What does that look like? Toto Wolff, again, on that Drive to Survive episode. Go and check it out, the one that we're talking about with Lewis Hamilton leaving to go to Ferrari and all the contract negotiations, where at the end of the episode, ultimately he signs back on with Mercedes and everybody lives happily ever after. In that episode, when Toto takes his family to the karting track, there's a very famous soundbite where Toto says something like this, and I'll paraphrase. We've been through various eras of dominance. We went through the Michael era. We went through the Sebastian Vettel era, 2010 to 2013. Now, however, we're going through the Max Verstappen era. And Susie, Toto Wolff, need to find a way to stop that. Now, let me ask you guys in the chat, how do you solve for that Rubik's Cube? How do you solve for that Max Verstappen dominance? What's the easiest and quickest way to solve for it? If you struggled to build a car and wrap your head around ground effect, which is where they are, let's be frank. You guys in the chat, let me know how to solve for that. Because I think the quickest way to break that dominance wheel is to sign Max Verstappen. If you can't beat them, have them join you. And that's where Toto Wolff is going. You know, I think Toto Wolff still doesn't forgive himself for the fact that he failed to sign the next generational talent in Max Verstappen in 2015-16 when he had the opportunity. He had the Austrian link already with Helmut Marko, right? He had durable competitive advantage in that negotiation. In his mind, Toto Wolff being the winner, the guy that's grown the company, Mercedes, tripled or quadrupled their advertising value over the past 10 years, the guy who doesn't lose, he won't be able to forgive himself for losing out in that negotiation. In his mind, he won't attribute the current losing streak to the car or the engineers. In his mind, he will be attributing that to the fact that he lost Max Verstappen. And now that he has the chance over the next few weeks or months to atone for that, to reverse out that error, rest assured he's going to make that. He's going to do his best, everything that he can do. If I know Toto Wolff, the businessman and racing mind, he's going to do everything he can to fix for that mistake, isn't he? And it will get techie. If there is a way to sign Max Verstappen for $160 million a year, with ambassadorial deal, with anything else that he wants, special dispensation to go and do sim races, whatever he wants, Toto Wolff, rest assured, will give that to him, as there is no doubt in my mind. Absolutely zero doubt. Because he doesn't like to bloody lose. He doesn't lose. Williams' team principal again brought Williams victories, or a victory at the very bloody least, and that's what turned Mercedes onto him, appointed him, gave him a stake in the company so much that they trusted him, because they don't trust losers, right? If you lose, then why would they hand you the keys? But now it's different, and you can see internally in real time Toto Wolff wrestling with this, the outcome ultimately of which, peddlers, is that Toto Wolff has turned heel. Scorched earth Toto now. Forget the previous modus operandi and rules of engagement nonsense. He doesn't care about that anymore. Toto Wolff wants to win, and he will do anything, Tyson, but I digress. He will do anything to get that over the line. Stay tuned. Now listen, I will say this as well. As unlikely as Max Verstappen to Mercedes seems in April of 24, I would argue that Lewis Hamilton 12 months ago moving to Ferrari seemed more unlikely. I would argue and put forth that Vettel moving from Red Bull in 2014 and going to Scuderia Ferrari seemed more likely. I would argue that Damon Hill leaving Williams in 1996 after a championship winning season seemed more unlikely. Senna moving to McLaren in 88 to join Alain Prost seemed more unlikely. I say all of those things to say that F1 is weird and wacky. Unlikely SH1T happens in F1 every single time, each and every single time. So I would not rule this out. If we're in a couple of years' time and Max is in those Mercedes overalls, Jomo, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Do not rule it out for the avoidance of doubt. Between now and next time, prosecution rests. No further questions, Your Honour.